Kia ora koutou, Markie here. So, an unreasonably long time ago, I promised that I would answer any questions, if I was able to, that people had around narcissists and narcissism. And this is the response video. It took me a little while to get around to it, as these things often do, so apologies for taking so long. Here we go. I didn't have many questions, actually. When I did a Q&A before, I've done one on a few things. I did one on ADHD, I think. One on maybe autism, something else. I had a lot more questions, not so many this time, but never mind. I had lots of nice comments from people. So as well as a Q&A, this will be a kind of a shout out as well. Also give people's channels a bit of love. So look, there we go. Look, that's my beloved. So Gwendoline, check out her channel. She's my wife, and also my business partner. And we do videos together. Some of you will know. So sometimes I'm on her channel and she's often on my channel. She does the same. She's a psychotherapist. Does a lot of the same things as me, but also does a lot of things that are completely different. So one of the things that she's doing at the moment is very exciting and about to be launched. So check out some of the videos around that. It's a project called MDP. Check out MDP. It's very exciting. Okay. So Tanlock. Now I don't know how to pronounce that. My apologies. Tanlock is phonetically how it looks. So thank you for sharing. Great upload. And lucky 4-leaf clover. Thank you for that. And the first question, which is a really good one. Rob D. So shout out to Rob D's channel. I think generally grandiose narcissism is thought of and referred to if someone says narcissism. Yes, I agree with that. However, there is a type called victim narcissist, right? Could you possibly go into this type a bit for us too? Yes. Okay. I've not heard it called victim narcissist before, but that kind of definitely kind of fits. It's a good name for it. So normally it's referred to as covert narcissist or vulnerable narcissist. So often people will divide narcissism into two, and they'll say an overt narcissist or a covert. Grandiose narcissist or a covert narcissist. Now there's nothing in any of the clinical diagnostic manuals about this. They just talk about narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, which isn't New York Police Department. Just a sip of water. But it's something that's written about and talked about, and I think, I personally think it's definitely something in this. So if you like, you can have the grandiose narcissist, the covert narcissist, and you can also have mixed type, I would say. Now I don't know if there's any kind of research, academic research to back this up, but there's certainly a lot of popular theoretical stuff around. And yes, the covert narcissist isn't bragging, isn't brash, isn't in your face. But often they play the victim a lot more. Now I should do, if I haven't already, do a video on something called the Kaufman drama triangle, which is a manipulative dynamic model that shows how people try and get power one over another, which is sometimes done through persecution, which is coming from a one-up position, sometimes done through rescuing, which is kind of helping, but from a kind of patronizing, condescending one-up position. And then there's been in the victim role, which is also a means of manipulating. Now I think probably all narcissists play the victim when it suits them, but the covert narcissist is not grandiose. They tend to be much. Some people say that the covert narcissist is an introvert, and the grandiose narcissist is an extrovert. I'm not sure if that's true. It kind of makes sense. It obviously needs research on all these things, really. Covert narcissists are much more sneaky, really, and often they appear sweet. Everyone thinks that they're sweet, sweet people, lovely people that butter wouldn't melt in their mouth, but lots and lots of manipulation. and we'll work on people, you know, and we'll share secrets with one person A about person B, and all that kind of thing. So definitely I would agree with that. Now, I've talked in the past about H.G. Tudor. I've done a couple of videos on H.G. Tudor, a very controversial character who has YouTube channels, one of my favourite channels. I recommend the channel, but I always give people a bit of a kind of a warning as well, a bit of a health warning about the channel. He doesn't like the term covert and grandiose narcissist. He's got this much more sophisticated taxonomy. He's got this almost kind of like a grid system of different kinds of narcissist. I'm not sure how many kinds he actually comes up with. I find the system quite complicated because of my numeric dyslexia, my dyscalculia. So you have categories, and you have quite a lot of categories and quite a lot of subcategories, which kind of confuses me quite a bit. But he reckons that the covert and grandiose is far too simplistic, and he's probably right. You know, I think his work on narcissism, which is, you know, as far as I'm aware, is not academic. You know, it's not been peer reviewed. It's not based on research using the scientific method. So, you know, academics would probably pull it to pieces in the way that they often do. But I think he's probably right, you know. So do check out some of his work if you're interested in that. If you really want to go into depth about that. So what he will do is he'll look at individuals and narrow their, you know, particular type of narcissism down to, you know, in great detail, and say this is type type X. You see phrases like lesser and middle lower and that kind of thing, or middle lesser. So that kind of loses me, really. If you had different terminology, I'd find it easier to understand. I understand the personality types he's describing. I just get confused by the way they're categorized. Okay, so yeah, so thank you for that, Rob. I hope that kind of answers that. So you won't find any references to that in the main psychiatric diagnostic manuals, but lots of people talk about it, and I think it's definitely there's something in that. Absolutely. Okay, growing together in God, very beautiful, magnificent, sharing my friend. Thumbs up, thank you, growing together in God. Jenna, the lovely Jenna Rotella, who is a great supporter of this channel, is always asking really interesting questions and contributing things. So hi Mark, is narcissism a mind disorder or something within the brain that isn't connecting or disconnecting? That's a brilliant question. We don't really 100% know. So with psychopathy, and I've done lots of videos on psychopathy, as in, you know, be it psychopaths or sociopaths. I don't particularly like the distinction. I've done a video on why I don't like the distinction. They do have something going on in the brain, you know, which can be picked up on scans. So, you know, certain things around empathy are very different, and it's all to do with the physiology of the brain. But with narcissists, it's not as clear cut. So I think psychopathy is more clear cut in some ways. So generally speaking, psychopaths don't experience fear. Narcissists, what I mean by narcissist in this context, somebody that's diagnosable narcissistic personality disorder, they have difficulty with emotional empathy. So they can't. Whereas, you know, if you're not a narcissist or a psychopath, and you're sitting in a cafe and you see somebody trip up in the street outside, and it looks like they've really hurt themselves, or you see an accident, you see somebody hit by a car, you know, you feel it. You know, it feels like, oh, you know, there's like a horrible feeling, you know. But somebody with psychopathy wouldn't have that, and somebody with narcissism would have that to a lesser degree, maybe, you know, practically no degree, no level of empathy. So they wouldn't feel it. But a lot of them have cognitive empathy, which means they understand that that's a bad thing. On an intellectual level, they think, oh, yeah, that's not good for that person. but they wouldn't feel it in their body. They wouldn't feel it, you know, it wouldn't have that emotional ooh kind of feeling, you know, that you get when you see something like that happen. And it's a spectrum, you know. There's a different degree of empathy, but I'm kind of going off on my usual tangents, really. So just to come back to the question, we don't know. We think so. The only all I could find on this in terms of research is that they've done twin studies. So that means studies with twins, where somebody's got a narcissistic personality disorder, and they've got a twin, or ideally you want an identical twin for that kind of research. So you can kind of see if there are correlations between both people. And what they found is that there is a genetic correlation with. So in other words, it can be inherited, but not narcissism in itself. Two of the many traits that make up narcissism do seem to have an inheritability. I'm not sure I've put that very clearly at all. Let me see if I can put that a bit in proper English. So there are narcissistic traits which can be clearly inherited from, you know, and that appear to be in the genes, not based on the effects of parenting. So this is where you look at, you know, somebody that's been adopted, for example, and that kind of thing. That's how you find that kind of stuff out. But that's not to narcissism as a whole. But nearly everyone that talks or writes about narcissism acknowledges that you know, there is highly likely to be a genetic and therefore, you know, physical correlation to it. But it's not really but that doesn't really mean that it's a problem in the brain, or that the brain's not right, as in, you know, with psychopathy there's a difference in the brain. It's like a neurodiversity. You know, this is just like a trait, like being good at the violin is like a trait. You know, you could be good at the violin and your great grandfather was good at the violin. So it's inheritable. The traits of narcissism are inheritable. It's probably is some physiological component in the brain, but nobody's managed to conclusively nail that down, as far as I know. If anyone knows more than that, and kind of, you know, has looked at some better research and can nail that down, please tell me, because I would love to know. It doesn't appear to be a brain thing. It appears to be a mind thing, which kind of leads to the question, how is it caused? Which no one has asked me. That would be one of the most interesting questions ever. So, but I'm not going to answer that because nobody's asked me. If somebody asks, so if somebody puts in the comments, how is it caused? And I'll address that. Of course, the short answer is we don't know. But there are some interesting theories, very interesting theories. So, again, might be pronouncing this wrong. Jing. Wonderful share. Got a very cosmopolitan international following. Kva.vlogs, probably pronounced that wrong as well. My apologies. Hello, my friends. Thank you for sharing. Living a Real Life Abroad is one of my amazing, wonderful supporters, and also one of my colleagues in Retroactive Jealousy. Looking forward to this, Markie. Curry travel. Interesting info. I like the topic a lot. Just one request: to shoot indoors, I think she means, because of the sound. Enjoy. Wow. Let me let you into a little secret, Curry travel. The reason I shot outdoors is because I was in my nightwear and I didn't want to be seen on the screen. Or I was I don't know, I was particularly, I think it was nightwear, I was particularly rough anyway, for whatever reason. So I went outside and filmed something else, which is what I often do when I'm kind of feeling rough. Hang on, it's gone again, let's put it back. So so I filmed some pretty flowers, and nobody has made reference to the subtle clue to the topic, subtle reference to the topic in the image that you can see. So yeah, sorry about the noise, but it was a windy day, and I was in a state where I wasn't, you know, wouldn't be a very nice kind of thing for you to look at. So hence I did that. And yes, it was windy, so sorry about that. The sound's not great. Boini, if I pronounce that on Creations, great sharing. Alka Travel Diary, great, thumbs up. Than Haivu 110A, again, I'm mispronouncing all of these names. Perhaps you could remind me how to pronounce them. Beautiful flowers, I love the white colour. Well, Than Haivu 1110A, I have a confession to make. They are plastic. So I wanted to feature these for a reason. And I wanted to just give you something to look at rather than my ugly and dishevelled visage. So I stepped my plastic flowers, which are these white ones in the middle, white and yellow, in a pot of real flowers. I don't know what the real flowers are, something Gwendoline's growing. So yeah, they look nice, but they're total fake. So there you go, it all comes out in these videos. Where do we get to? Canal de Glisse, I hope I said that right. Back again, new friend here, stay connected forever. Yes, we're connected, we're friends. And again, nice video. So it says Canal de Glisse has commented twice, which is really helpful, because the more comments I get on a video, the more YouTube sends it out and shows more people. And a lot of the work that we do is really important stuff about helping people and getting information out to people who are suffering, so we really appreciate that. Right, now Ning, and then there's a different alphabet. So pronunciation is going to be even harder there. So we've got little kind of namaste bows, which are nice, we like that. STR Master Kikao, probably said that wrong, there's lots of stuff around birds, very beautiful. Kesor H Fun, Kesor H Kufun, again, sorry. Very beautiful flower, yeah, okay, I refer you to my previous confession, sorry about that. I feel bad now, like I've a total fraud and I've fooled everybody. Bipolar Aquatics, little beady eyes, presumably that's kind of looking forward to watching, a kind of enthusiasm about watching the video, the response video. I think that's what that means. I hope that's what that means. Now I had another response, because I posted this on Facebook as well, which I sometimes do with videos, and people sometimes respond on Facebook but not on the actual comments of the video. So I was trying to encourage people to post on YouTube, because then that helps raise our profile and everything. But I believe it was Hadley Amaru, who is a colleague and a wonderful all-time good egg, and he asked pretty much, I think, the same question as Jenna's question, but I think he might have asked, I couldn't find it, I'm so sorry Hadley, I couldn't find your question. It's based on memory, and I think you asked about whether it was inheritable. It might be that you asked something completely different and I've ignored your question, in which case I'm so sorry. Tell me again and we'll do a follow-up. So thank you to everybody that's contributed with a question. If you've got more questions, let me know. I don't know everything, so I can look stuff up. But if it's way beyond my ken, then I'll say that. I won't just kind of bluff. Just because I've got fake flowers doesn't mean I give fake answers. So thank you for that. So I'm a psychotherapist by profession. Narcissism is not really my specialism, but it's a kind of personal interest that I've got. If you've got any questions, if you want to ask a psychotherapist, just fire them in, and if I can answer it, I'll do a video on it. Oh look, it's gone back to. You can see all the things that I watch now, which is really bad. It doesn't reflect well on me. I watch lots of true crime stuff and things like that, which just because not because I'm interested in horrible things, but I'm interested in why people do horrible things. So there we go, one last look at the fake flowers, but they look rather nice, and of course they're fake narcissi, or narcissus, I'm not sure how you say it, so that's why the link, the flower named after Narcissus. And of course narcissism comes from Narcissus, who fell in love with his own reflection. That's from the Greek myths, and the flower's named after him, really. And they're kind of little tinky daffodils. So on that note, thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one. Fire your questions, give us a like and all that kind of stuff, really appreciated. Love you, all the people that give me regular support and help the channel, really appreciate it. Catch you soon. Rangimarie.